Umachkas the big mother. What did we learn in yesterday's shir? We learned in yesterday's shir that you have to love every Jew. Right? You have to love every Jew. And the love of every Jew has to be mamish. Kamoicha, you have to love every other Jew exactly as you love yourself. Right? That's what we learned. You have to love every other Jew. You have to love every other Jew exactly as you love yourself. How could you love another person exactly as you love yourself? And of course the answer is because when you make nafsham ikir and gufam tafel and love of the neshama, kulam asimis, avechad miyadeg lasam alasan, kulam asimis and avechad and all neshamas are one. That's it. For the Alter Rebbe, but Api Nigla, there's a place to hate people. So the second half of Perek Lamed Beis, ironically, is a Pashta Nigla de Kapilpul. In a few places in Tanya, the Alter Rebbe goes Nigla. The second half of Perek Lev is Pashta Nigla de Kalumdus. How do we reconcile this inyan of loving every Jew with the idea that's brought in halacha that some Jews you have to hate? You have to lower them, you have to even bring them Rachmansan to Hepech HaChayim. Certain Jewish people you're not allowed to help and you have to bring them to Hepech HaChayim and so forth and so on, which is Hepech, the idea of you have to Lecha Kamoicha. And you should know that it says in Kisvei Arizal that Nacham Leirim Kedem Atfil Leirim Makabal Lai Mitzvah Seish V'Aft Lecha Kamoicha. You know what that means? Hareini Makabal Lai Mitzvah Seish V'Aft Lecha Kamoicha. What is the reason the Kisvei Arizal says that Hareini Makabal? What's the reason for the Kisvei Arizal Hareini Makabal? Because when you bring a carbon, the carbon has to be a tamim. It's to be perfect. All Jews are connected to all Jews. If you don't love another Jew, you don't love a piece of yourself. If you don't love a piece of yourself, the carbon of your tefillah is not tamim yelaratz. Because the piece in yourself, you're not being makriv. If there's a piece of yourself, you're not being makriv, the whole carbon is possible. So the Arizal says, before you daven, say Hareini Makabel, make the clear avat yisrael to every other Jew, so that your tefillah should be tamim and therefore should be lirat. You understand? But what about the apinikli? You have to hate certain Jews. And if apinikli have to hate certain Jews, felt in other words, first bepashtas. How can you say love every Jew exactly like love yourself? It says nikli you're supposed to hate certain Jews. V'ashenis, it offsets the inyan from tamim yelirat. So Alter Rebbe is going to answer the question by basically reducing, almost to the point of elimination, this idea of hating a fellow Jew. Omash, because the Gemara says, if a person is about his friend that he sinned mitzvah he has to hate him. And moreover, he even supposed to tell his teacher. It's not considered lashon hara that you should hate him as well. So Alter Rebbe says, Hainu, let me tell you how narrow this inyan is. First of all, it's only b'chaveda b'teiro b'mitzvahs. Number one, you can only hate a Jew who's on your spiritual level. A Jew who's not on your level, his holy issue does not apply. So the Frierdiker Rebbe was once asked, how come he's makar of everybody? He said, he's supposed to lower and not lift, he's not supposed to help him and so forth. So the Frierdiker Rebbe said that the Shulchan Aruch has 4 halakim. Yerachayim Yadei Chesh Mishpat Never Nezer. Of the 4 halakim, the last is Chesh Mishpat. In Cheshem Mishpat itself, these halachas are the very, very end of Cheshem Mishpat. So Rebbe says, I haven't reached the end of the Shulchan Aruch. The place where Teresh Balpeh writes about hating a fellow Jew is at the end of the last section of the last book of the last part of the Shulchan Aruch. And even then, it's first of all, only Chaveri B'Teiro Mitzvahs has to be in your level. Number 2, Ukvar Kiyam Bei Mitzvahs Heicheach Techiach Hasam Yisach. You've done the mitzvah, you've criticized him and said, correct your ways, and he doesn't listen to you, right? And of course, the word amisacha means am, she'itcha, b'teiro, b'mitzvahs. It has to be a people that are like you. Only Jews who are on your level you're allowed to hate. And so there's 2 points. You cannot hate any Jew as a sinner. This of hating every Jew is pushed hepech Shulchan Aruch. You can only hate a Jew. In other words, every Jew is not from. A Jew who's your friend and take the mitzvahs, then you can hate him. Number 1. Number 2, and you already gave him mechacha, and he doesn't do tshuva. So those 3 things narrow down who you can hate unbelievably. Only chavecha b'teiro b'mitzvahs, only if you'll mechiachem, and only if leishav. Aval, as opposed to he's not your friend, he's not close to you, so you're not allowed to hate him even if he didn't give a musar at all, and even if he gave a musar and so forth. The name of Hillel HaZaken. It should be from the students of Adar and Shalom, love peace, and so forth. Love all of God's creations, and bring them close to the Teda. Lema, this means such people who are far away from Teda Nebish's Avodah. To such an extent that Nikroyim B'Shem B'Riyas B'Yalma, they're simply called creations. Their only mile is that God created them. So for them, you have to draw them with cords that are thick Avaisis is a word in Architas that are geflochten, woven of Aham. You have to only love them. And perhaps all of this love will be effective. By loving a person unconditionally, perhaps you can bring him closer to Teir and Avodas Hashem. Moreover, and if not, at least you have not forfeited the mitzvah of Yisrael. So number one, this business about hating everybody because they're not frim. Exactly who's not frim? The only one who's not frim is the one you see in the mirror. Jews who are not frim, you have to chatchila love. It's only chaver chabateiru mitzvah. It's only if you gave him muslim, and it's only if he's leishav. Aside from that, you have to didn't do tshuva. Aside from that, you have to love unconditionally. So that removes 99.9% people from the hate screen automatically. What about this 0.1%? Is noch zwei Sachen. Number one is like this. Evil people who attack close to you. And you gave them musar. And they didn't return. So you have the three conditions that command hate. May have been saying from their sins. Mitzvah listener that you're supposed to hate. So the Alter Rebbe, even them, mitzvah avam gamkin. You have to love them also. Even the ones you hate, you're supposed to love. And they're both true. Sinah. The hatred is not to them, but mitzad harasha behem, the evil in them. The ahava and the love mitzad bechinas atev hagonot shebehem, because of the good which is concealed and hidden in them. What good is hidden in them? But haste ayid shonitz elakus shebetecha. It's the spark of godliness which is within them. Hamachaye nafshama elakus, which gives life to their divine soul. V'gam, in addition to loving the good and hating the evil, there's a third point, and that is la'eder rachman b'li be'aleha. To push it, have rachmanas, to evoke mercies on a fellow Jew. We're almost finished. 6 lines from the bottom of page Lamed Beis. Okay. Ki b'chinas golos b'techaram eseter achara. Clearly, the person's neshama is in golos, is incarcerated, and it's trapped in exile. Exile means it cannot reveal itself, as we discussed so many times in the past. In the evil eseter achara, gave it a leah, but a shoyim, which is dominating in this evil person. Says the Alter Rebbe, so therefore you have to love the good in him. You have to hate the evil in him, and you have to push it, feel bad. You have to have rachmanas that the good is trapped in the evil. Says the Rebbe, v'rachmanas mevatal sasina. It becomes 2 against 1. The rachma that you feel for this yid's nita teleki, in endem l'spal lel mitech keved reish, teaches the Rebbe Mizitcher Magid, me keved reish of the Shechina. The Eibishtek v'yachal has a keved reish, the headache from Golus. You have to have rachmanas on the Eibishtek. You have to have rachmanas on the nita teleki, which is in Golus. Mevatal sasin, it weakens the hatred. Or meyeres ha'ava, and it arouses even more love. Keneda, as it's explained in many places in Chassidus, mimashakosov l'yankiv. Yankiv is rachamim. Ashapodes Avram, that redeems Avram, which is chesed, from Yitzchak, which is gevura, which is sin. So Alter Rebbe says, hate. First of all, you're not allowed to hate people not on your level. So it's right away reduced. Who you're hating, he is on your level, and you gave him musa, and he didn't do tshuva. Even then, you hate him, but you love him, and you have rachmanis also. So it becomes 2 against 1. What does it feel like to hate a fellow Jew? Al pi teira. You're loving him, you're having rachmanis on him, and you're hating the evil. So the love and the rachamim combine to completely outweigh the hatred that you're feeling. So that's it.
So the hate doesn't manifest?
So the hate manifests in a very, very narrow way. Bottom line is there's no such thing as unconditional hatred for a fellow Jew. That's the bottom line. And this is consistent with the message of Avos Yisrael, that when you daven, first of all, tell them it's this possible. You could love every Jew. Because even the Rasha who you're hating, you're only hating the evil and you're loving the good. And second of all, if you have to every Jew, you could love him exactly as you love yourself. But then the Alter Rebbe does bring the exception. We do find a concept of hating unconditionally. Hating with the absolute hatred, which has no conditions, there's no love and there's no rachamim. So the Rebbe says it's Ela Minim Vapakursim. People are Minim and Apakursim, they have no portion of the living God. Kedisa Begemar Rishpei designed the Shabbos, as the Gemara says, the Shabbos, them you hate unconditionally, and the Rebbe adds, there's 2 kvetches here. Kvetch number 1 is Minim Vapakursim, and kvetch number 2 is David HaMelech. Only David HaMelech, because he is so pure, can hate. To hate a Minim Apakadas, the way Teda says to hate him in Apakadas, where the hatred is mamish, B'liak Bola Klal, you have to be pure like David HaMelech. You and I, since we have chasrenis in ourselves, even the Minim Apakadas, which Teda says to chasrenis Nesim, it's only for David HaMelech. The Rebbe says, that's why the Alter Rebbe says, well, David HaMelech, he should just say V'lo Yomar Tachasinis Nesim. Why does he bring David? Because only David can hate like this. This is the Alter Rebbe's protocol on Sinas Yisrael.